你可以看到我整个荧幕画面吗？
Yes, I can see the entire screen.
那我有开启一个 Word 画面，你可以描述一下在 Word 画面中你看到什么吗？
Okay, the Word document has two tables with data. The first table displays temperature changes of water over time, measured at 5-minute intervals, in 3 trials, with an average temperature provided per time interval. The second table has similar data, except that it includes the addition of 24-degree granite. Below the tables is a question about calculating the specific heat of granite.
对，我做了2次实验，我想要计算花岗岩的比热。第一次的时候呢，我先试试看，因为杯子可能会吸走一些热量，所以我先测试了一下杯子在20分钟内可能会吸走的热量。然后接着呢，我准备了24度 C 的花岗岩100克，然后我同样也做了3次。请问我这样做可以吗？
Yes, you have done 2 experiments. One experiment measured water cooling, and the other measured water with granite cooling. You want to calculate the specific heat of granite, and you are trying to account for heat loss in the cup. Does this sound correct?
对，没错。那接下来你可以教我一步一步的计算花岗岩的比热吗？
Sure, we can go through this step by step. First, we'll need to determine the heat lost by the water in the first experiment using the formula delta H equals ms delta T. Then we will do the same calculation using the second experiment data. Are you ready to start?
好，请你开始咯。
Okay, let's start with the first experiment. The mass of the water is 300 grams, the specific heat of water is 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius, and the change in temperature was from 60 to 54.7 degrees Celsius. Could you please tell me what the change in temperature is?
好，那接下来呢？
The change in temperature is 3 degrees Celsius. Now, please multiply 300 grams by 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius by 5.3 degrees Celsius. What do you get for the heat lost by the water in the first experiment?
你可以再说一遍吗？刚刚没有听清楚。
Sure, no problem. You need to multiply 300 grams by 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius by 5.3 degrees Celsius. What do you get for the heat lost by the water in the first experiment?
所以这样算出来是多少呢？
That is 1,590 calories. Now let's move on to the second experiment. What was the change in temperature of the water in the second experiment from 60 to the final average temperature?
好，所以接下来呢？
The change in temperature was 8.5 degrees Celsius. Now let's calculate the heat lost by the water in the second experiment. Multiply 300 grams by 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius by 8.5 degrees Celsius. What do you get?
所以你刚刚说先算出来杯子吸收的热量大概在20分钟的话是1500千卡，这样吗？
Correct. The heat lost by the water in the first experiment is 1,590 calories, and the heat lost by the water in the second experiment was 2,550 calories. Now we can calculate the specific heat capacity of the granite. Do you want to continue?
好，请你继续哦。
Okay, the next step is to subtract the heat lost by the water in the first experiment from the heat lost by the water in the second experiment, then divide by the mass of the granite, and divide again by the temperature change of the granite. Are you ready to do that?
好，请你再继续。
Okay, the difference between the heat lost by the water in the second experiment and the heat lost by the water in the first experiment is 960 calories. Now divide this by the mass of the granite, which was 100 grams. What do you get?
所以我们是不是算出实验2花岗岩吸收的热量，然后再来就可以算出它的比热呢？
You're correct. The 960 calories represents the heat absorbed by the granite. Now, to get the specific heat capacity of the granite, we need to divide 960 calories by 100 grams, then divide that number by the change in temperature of the granite. Based on the experiment, the granite was initially at 24 degrees Celsius and was added to water that started at 60 degrees Celsius and ended at 51.5 degrees Celsius. What was the change in temperature of the granite?
所以这样算出来是多少呢？
The granite changed by 27.5 degrees Celsius, from 24 to 51.5 degrees. Now, divide 9.6 by 27.5. What result do you get?
这你算出来的比热数值是多少？
The specific heat capacity of granite, based on your experiment, is approximately 0.35 calories per gram per degree Celsius. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
那我想跟水的比热做一些比较。
Okay, the specific heat of water is 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius, and your calculated specific heat for granite was approximately 0.35 calories per gram per degree Celsius. Would you like to discuss the implications of that comparison?
好哦，你告诉我它的含义是什么？所以花岗岩的比热比水小很多啊。
That is correct. The specific heat of granite is much lower than the specific heat of water. Would you like me to help with anything else?
那花岗岩的比热比水小很多，在科学上代表它是什么特质？
Having a lower specific heat means that granite needs less energy to change its temperature compared to water. Therefore, it heats up and cools down more quickly than water.